Good morning, Breakfast Clubbers!
Good morning!
There you go. Let's go ahead and get the singing out of the way. Let's do something different. Yankee Doodle, man. When was the last time we ever did that? Oh. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real live nephew of my Uncle Sam's, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart. She's my Yankee Doodle joy, Yankee Doodle went to London, they had a feather. Okay. I just want to get it out of the way. Okay. Yay! All right. Okay, this is, yeah, how many of you are new to Breakfast Club? Okay. Breakfast Club's been around, it's like, what, 41 years or something? 30, no, it's at least 4. What is it, Frank? Isn't it 40?
42. It's awful close.
Long damn time, okay? And singing these songs is tradition, and we just got to do it because that's the way we sing for our breakfast. I'm going to tell you real quick. Some people have to leave early, and Don and I were up. I haven't gone to bed yet. We were up all night getting the magazine done in time for Gary to get up, and then we missed it by that much. So. The easing is done, and for those of you that don't know, Freedom's Phoenix, we also publish a digital magazine that's done, that's for tablets and smartphones. And nope, I'm not doing that.
We can still hear you somehow.
So what we're going to go ahead and do is today we have some, ooh, it broke. He did. Now they can get a new one. I didn't know. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go and get some information on several issues. There's a lot of things that are going on. One, we had Libertopia that was last weekend. It's the second year that they've done it in San Diego. It's kind of a cross between our Freedom Summit and Porcupine Festival, Pork Fest, in New Hampshire. Now, some of you went, Shelton and Renee and Gary and Verda and Don and I, and a bunch of the guys went, and we dominated. We made a lot of shirts, we've done a lot of things, and we'll get into that, but Libertopia is an effort to bring people and speakers together that advocate for none of the above. And I mean none. No government, no police, no military, no nothing. So what happens is, for this month's magazine, what we did is I wanted to make sure that we advocated for, you know what, I can put it up here. I have technology. What we're going to go ahead and do is today I wanted to give you an Evelyn Wood version of what's going on. I'm really starting to see a lot of things that are happening and putting pieces together. I kind of known it, but you always wait for the pieces to kind of fall in place, and that always happens when you get near the election cycle. Everybody's phones, is that ringer off? I'm sorry, did you turn the ringer off? I turned mine off. These are the covers of the magazine. This is the first inaugural edition. You know, our girl, she's cutting through the barbed wire, and it's kind of hard to tell, is she freeing the people or breaking out?
Or doing a pole
I don't know, something to think about. But they're definitely going wherever she's going. In July, it was when they were doing the dancing in front of the Thomas Jefferson Memorial. Remember all that? So our girl's out there dancing with Thomas Jefferson. How that started is Thomas Jefferson was always like into dancing. So on his birthday, people went with iPods, and you couldn't hear them. They just went out, and they're just like, doing the iPod commercial, and while they're doing the white man overbite, all of a sudden they're getting arrested. Okay, Adam Kokesh went out, and they go, "Oh yeah, well we'll go out and do it again." Whole bunch of people arrested him. The Marine, he's like this. They picked him up, slammed him on the marble floor, and that went postal, viral. The next week they went, and there were hundreds of people, not thousands of people. Pardon?
Dance party at TJ's.
Yeah, dance party at TJ's. So it was huge. See, the police state, they don't get it. The more they do this kind of crap, the more they get it's not even really resistance, it's creative resistance. So we'll talk about Occupy Phoenix here with Joe in a little bit. He's spent some time down there. Then we have Kathleen T. from Phoenix NORML, the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, wherever she is. Oh, there she is. So we're going to be talking with her. Drew went and did a presentation offering them some help, and we've worked with them in the past. And so there's a lot of this stuff going on. Then we have the August edition was all about self-sustainability and gardening and making your own whatever. Now this machine is an actual machine that's done by a group in Missouri. He was a PhD that was making nuclear whatever. I mean, he's a physicist or something, and he just kind of, I'm not really saving the planet, so I'm going to go out and learn how to grow food. Well, what he realized, he spent so much time and money on repairing all of his equipment, and he said, well, we do open source on software. Why can't we do an open source build, modular, kind of make it all go where hardware and farm equipment? So they started building 50 different machines to build a sustainable community to where you have your own stuff. To the point, they make 5,000 bricks a day. They have, I think it's 5,000, it's thousands. And they have a tractor, that's a bulldozer, a tractor, and a forklift, and they start to build, buildings and all kinds of stuff, and it's all based on, a lot of it is hydraulics, isn't it? Or pneumatic or something. So what they did, they had different power cells, and it's all kinds of, they're whatever. And people were going out now. So what we did in this edition is we featured all of the machines that they have built and are building. So that was a really interesting. And then we did a lot of gardening, like Gary and Verda helping Donna on her little projects, and we got chickens and goats, and she did a big thing on that, and how to milk goats and make cheese and so on. And they got garden plots out in Sun City West. You gotta say Sun City West. Now they all freaked out. There's a difference of 30 years between us. We're not in walkers yet. So anyway, Sun City West got all the energy, and they're out there, and their extra land that they had from when they first developed it and built it and under the power lines or whatever, and they have just put water spigots in there, and all of a sudden, all of these residents of Sun City West have enormous production of produce. I mean, they are given all kinds of different shelters and so on, and of course we get plenty of stuff. So Gary and Bert are all on that. So what we did in this edition is we talk about people living off the land and learning their own how to survive. Then this edition was, you can kind of see, was Generation Next. It's the youth, these people that are coming up now, the Levolution. And what it is, I remember Paulo Soleri. How many of you guys know Cosanti and Arcosanti up there and all that kind of stuff? He's an architect from the 70s, 80s, something like that, that studied under Wright, I think. But he's always said, well, when you build all these bridges, how come you don't make living quarters on them and have them, be, this nice canyon? You might as well put some apartments in there. Your car goes right through it anyway. So I'm going, that was always kind of a cool idea. But I'm going, this dirigible that you see up there is real. They're starting to make these now. They have a lifting body to them a little bit so they can carry a lot more than just what the buoyancy is from the lighter than air gas. And they're starting to be where people can live. You want to be away from the man, you just go up there. So this is transportation, cargo, and so on. You're going to see a lot of this is coming. This is from Seasteading. Seasteading is a project that Milton Friedman's grandson is part of this, and one of the gazillionaires from PayPal or something, guys with money. And they said, you know what? Let me tell you how you'd be free. You go out, miles off the coast, out in international waters, and you build your own platform, and you said, later. That's what they're doing. So there's a lot of different projects like that. Then this is a replica of what has just opened in the last few weeks in northern New Mexico, a spaceport. I bet you never even heard of it. Spaceship Two, Richard Branson owns Virgin Airlines, has a company called Virgin Galactic. They are building planes. They're going to start doing this year or early next year. They're going to be giving civilian flights into space. And the first ticket, William Shatner. So what they're doing, now a lot of people don't know, there's already 2 private space stations that have been in orbit for a couple of years. I mean, you guys have no idea what's coming. This spaceport, it's kind of a replica, if you get a high-res version of it, is the one that's in New Mexico that's finished now. Not later, now. I can go on and on about that. Then you have the ocean, the air society, and then the raising of the children, using these tablet computers. Because I knew what was coming. We have the magazine, works like that. I go to an article, I just go on table of contents, boom, there it is. I want to read that column, go to the bottom, there's a hyperlink in there, I just click it, it goes to it, videos, whatever. Because there is no internet connection. Oh, yes, right. We'll put it on the internet. So this is the future, and we knew this was coming. So what we've done is we have taken Freedom's Phoenix one more step and had this, because it goes on to my phone too. I do the exact same thing. This is just a big version of this, same operating system, everything. So when I want to, read an article or I want to do whatever, all I got to do is just touch it. And go to the next page. Go down the column, blah, blah, blah. So when I'm, don't have access to that or on the bus or plane or whatever, I just download all of these onto my computer and I just read it there. You can also do it online. Then the next one was to do with what's called Free Aid. Free Aid is a group of doctors and nurses out of New Hampshire that you see, it's kind of the anarchist Band-Aid up there. It's all, you see black and orange a lot. That's for the anarchist colors. So what they have done is they've accumulated a lot of equipment, expertise, supplies, and so on. And every Liberty event, like Libertopia, they'll have a lot of equipment, defibrillators, all kinds of stuff, doctors and nurses and trauma, nurses and surgical assistants and surgeons and whatever. And whenever we're at different events like Pork Fest, we know we're going to be taken care of in this Porcupine Festival for all you gutter brains. So what happens is, this is the future. Everybody's always, well, what are you going to do? What about, the roads? Well, then I got my Dirigible, I don't need your roads. And, what about healthcare? Oh, here you go. So what we did is I designed these. I have a concept, an idea, what I want to do is kind of Star Trek-y, and our girl is always in silhouette, okay? You never actually see what she looks like. And there's a reason, and someday, and it's a long story. But what happens, we're going to space, and the government's not invited, just so you know. So this is what this is all building up to. It's all the future.
Who's doing the artwork?
Scott Beasley. Now, this one was the Road to Liberty, the Road to Libertopia. And it's all these different anarchist groups that we're working with, and activists and so on the way to liberty. And oh, by the way, we're going to throw some flowers at the Federal Reserve on the way. These QR codes that you see there, you take your smartphones, for a lot of you who don't know, and it's like a bar scanner. And what it does is it just scans all these different codes. I don't know if it'll work with that low resolution like that. Especially with my hand in the way.
Here's on the other side. Yeah, you gotta hold the other way.
So anyway, when it does that, well, it's like these. You have all these different cards, and we put these stickers all over the place, boom, and it goes straight to the site. This is the difference between this and what we've done in the past. We always put up signs, we always do advertising, we always have campaigns, we always do whatever to try and get them to go somewhere to get information that we want them to have. What this one is right here is dime gasoline, or 2 dimes or whatever. 1 gallon of gas. And where do you put this? It is a sticker. So where do I put it? On a gas pump. Where do I put, a lot of these? We have all kinds of different ones. We put them on parking meters, toilet roll dispensers, bleachers and Friday night high school football games, school lockers, books, bumpers, cars. See my point? What we've done is this QR code technology works like this. I'll go ahead and show you. You have no idea how easy this is. QR code generator. It's an inventory system, kind of like a barcode, except that it generates 256 characters, so it gives you a lot more information you put. It was an inventory thing by some company, I don't know, Toyota or whoever it was, doesn't matter. You can have it give text, a web page, a text message. There's all kinds of ways that you can use it. Now, I put in here and I go freedomsphoenix.com. I hit generate. That's it. When you scan that, it goes straight to whatever website you put in there. You do this, like I got 4409, just gave me a card. He doesn't have a QR code on it.
I was gonna do.
Slacker. Because what is the point? It takes you straight to where you want them to go. No remembering, no doing later, no I think I thought. They go like this. If I'm pumping gas and I'm there for 3 to 5 minutes, putting gas in my car and I ain't got nothing else to do, and I got my smartphone right there, guess what I'm doing?
You're reading the Ron Paul flyer I put on the pump.
Better have a QR code on it. So this is what we're doing. We have tons of these. We have them in different sizes. We got them on our bumper stickers. We got ones for the magazine. We got ones for a new app that we have. Oh, I didn't tell you about that. We got a whole bunch of different ones. What we did is we went ahead, and because we know this is the technology, I go in and I hit boom. On my smartphone or on my Droid or tablet or whatever, you go to the Android market, and it's called Freedoms, *S, Freedom Space Phoenix. And it's a Freedoms Phoenix and I update the news, and it updates it. Oh, I don't have an internet connection. But it goes in and it gives me all the stuff in the Freedoms Phoenix format for these devices. Everybody had, where we used to have big banks and rooms full of computers, this is more powerful than any computer probably ever was up until maybe the 80s, unless it was by the government. I'm telling you. This is what Frank did. Am I lying?
Nope.
It's amazing the technology that we have, but I'll tell you what happens. The man's got technology too. Overwhelmed with data of everything that we do. We are being controlled, we're being manipulated, we're being surveyed, we're being surveilled, we're being. The thing is how do we take advantage of this technology before it overwhelms and just plants us in a grave, puts us into whatever? What makes us a slave? I don't know. These young guys. That's why I have always been so ahead of the curve on this stuff. It's what gives us our edge and our advantage. And the difference between my abilities and our advocacy and our helping of people and the bad guys is one main thing. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I don't want to control people. I don't want to tell them what to think or where to go or what to do. My advocacy is for me to be able to do whatever the hell I want, but the only way I can do that is if I advocate it for everybody. So that brings us to what's going on now that I wanted to bring to your attention and before we get to our speakers. What happened is I had a lot of people that sent me various different things we put on Freedom's Phoenix. And one of those people is Gary, right here. Gary, man, he's a libertarian from back in the day, and the boy knows what's going on. So he sends me some of the coolest stuff that you see on Freedom's Phoenix. Now, one thing that he sent me about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that started me down a path. I knew it was there, you know, I could see it coming, and I know the guys, and I get it. So I'm going to show you 4 posts and give you an idea of what's happening. Americans for Prosperity. How many of you know Tom Jenney?
Tom Jenney.
Okay. Americans for, now Tom Jenney was Cato, went to Goldwater Institute, then he worked for some education kind of deal. And from the beginning, it's the same people funding all that, you know, they need good quality guys like Tom to do what they do. And what they do is they're AstroTurf, and he's proud of it, man. He used to carry a little square around his neck. Okay? You want some AstroTurf? I'm your man. All right? I understand it. That's the power that he has. So what happens is all of a sudden here comes the Tea Party thing from the Ron Paul movement and so on. They saw on Tea Party Day that he raised what, $6 million or something one day. They went, well, we want some, we want some, we want some. Because it wasn't just because they got gazillions of dollars. You know, money is not the problem. You know, they got they unlimited resources up. I mean, they're the corporations, special interests, the this, the that, and the gazillionaires and so on. The Koch brothers got, you know, they spend, you know, $1 billion and they got, you know, $2 more billion at the end of the year. I mean, so, you know, they're fun, okay? What happens, though, is that it's an uphill battle against people, the perception, the culture, and they need to get whatever they need or want to get, but they have to do it in such a way that it seems that it's organic and coming from the people, the Tea Parties. What's the left alternative to that? Occupy Wall Street, okay? I am of the opinion, always have been of the opinion, that if you go high enough up on the pyramid, at the top, the same guys control both sides. So what happens is all you got to do is follow the money. You just got to look and see what's the common thing. But one thing that I know that's going to come out of this, is they've been screaming since I've been getting involved in the early 90s, is the balanced budget amendment as an excuse to have a constitutional convention. They want a constitutional convention in the worst way, been screaming for it, and it's called ALEC, American Legislative Exchange Council. I ran up against these guys in the early 90s. There was an initiative that we did that, what time is it? I'm going to give you guys this. It's good. Good stuff. But I want to make sure that we have time for everybody else. And I know, and I promised Kathleen that she'd have at least 15 minutes, and Joe will take what time he needs to explain what's going on with him. So let's go ahead and do this first with Kathleen. I just want to get you guys interested in what I don't think I know is what I know. And you can tell me how wrong I am after I tell you, okay? I won't make fun of you for not seeing it, okay? But Kathleen, go ahead and come on up. Okay. Kathleen T. is with Phoenix NORML. Now, we've worked with Kathleen in the past. The thing is that she was very supportive and instrumental in getting past the marijuana law that did something. I'm not sure what it did. She's going to tell us about it and why she was supportive of it, where it is now, and what the future will be. Because I don't know, can I smoke yet?
Are you a patient, sir?
Do I have to be?
State of Arizona.
According to who?
That's up to you. I just want to keep you from being a felon. That's why. That's why I want you protected. Can everybody hear me okay while I just talk like this with my outdoor voice? Or
you're
do you want
fine,
me to
you're
turn it into?
Well, you should try.
Hello, how's it going?
Yeah, it's senior citizens, man. It's winter time. Start getting cold. I've seen a bunch of people I haven't seen in 4 months.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm glad you're out. Thanks for coming out. Hi, guys. I'm Kathy T with Phoenix NORML. Blew that. Sorry, Ernie.
She did it.
Okay, I did it. I hope I can do that. Okay, hello. That's the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. NORML is a 40-year tradition dating back to 1970. Keith Stropp is the fellow who started it there in Washington, D.C. He's a great guy, still works on the legal team there in Washington. But we're working here in Phoenix. Today, November 5th, is the 15th anniversary of what? Anyone? Anybody know? Anybody?
1605.
California Prop 215 and the Compassion Use Act there in California, which is the first really good progress that we had in marijuana history, really, and the most significant passing of any law. So 15 years later, where are we at? We got 16 medical states across the country, which makes it very hard for Jan Brewer to take our medical use away, which is beautiful because we worked really hard to pass Prop 203. And we got it passed, and we're going to keep it that way. So we're fighting currently right now. Why do I do this? Why would I fight for marijuana, cannabis rights? Originally, it was a civil liberties issue for me. I figured this is our American right. Why is it that we can use alcohol, which I saw poison my friends. I saw friends die in high school. I saw girls, you know, I could get into the women thing, I'll do that in a few minutes, but basically I just felt that women stay safer, people as a whole stay safer when marijuana is involved in alcohol. I found out later how we've been poisoned by prescription drugs in this country. They're starting with children as early as 3 years old. The doctors are feeding into our lives. They're getting money from everyone they're starting. You know, it's just cradle to grave with the prescription drugs. Most of you are probably on some sort of prescription drug because your doctor said that's where you need to be. The fact is, marijuana can not only alleviate the pain of cancer, which many of you already know that, but we're finding that it can also cure cancer. Places like Mexico, places like Canada are using research with hemp oil. They're using research with actual applications where they're not only again, alleviating the symptoms and the nausea and this and that from chemotherapy, they're getting rid of chemotherapy altogether and using marijuana. Cannabis is the proper term, cannabis sativa. Actually, that's how they got us in the beginning, in the history. They went ahead and divided cannabis into two things, scared us with the marijuana. Everybody know the history of marijuana and why we don't have it?
No, we do cocaine instead.
Oh, hey, yeah, whatever it's
Cocaine front.
libertarians, you know.
Ecstasy.
It's all about liberty, right, Ernie?
How about the rest of recreational?
That's right. Well, I'll give you just a short history lesson because as we know, but that's right. As we know, most things go back to money in this country. You have a Secretary of the Treasury named Andrew Mellon back in the 30s who worked for Hoover there. And Andrew Mellon was the banker for who? DuPont Chemical, for Rockefeller's oil folks there, and the Hearst paper mills. So this banker was able to appoint his nephew, Harry Ainslinger, to be the head of the DEA and to keep that post for 30 years. And with the only source of information for American humans being the newsprint, the Hearst family had that all sewn up. So they just scared the heck out of everyone and told them that marijuana was this crazy drug that you don't want in America because it's going to make white women date black people, and oh, it's going to be crazy, they're going to dance and do all kinds of nutty things. So they scared the white people into thinking that marijuana was the devil's cabbage, as they called it, and thus you have 70 years of lies, basically, because we had this guy Anslinger in position until the 60s, when things started coming around. But then what happened is the pharmaceuticals stepped in and made sure that they came up with things like Say No to Drugs and, you know, the subsequential campaigns since 60s, 70s, 80s. It's all been about pharmaceutical companies. And that's why for the last 20 years, most everyone or people that you know are on prescription drugs. Well, they've gotten into our psyche, they've gotten into our conscious to say that the doctor's right, you've got to listen to your doctor, you need to trust your doctor. Well, everybody trusts their doctor, and now everybody's been taking chemicals for a number of years. I can't tell you how many kids come to me that are just about 20 and they're realizing that marijuana is safer, that it's a safer alleviator of pain, chronic pain. Doctors want to hook kids up to IVs. Drew's here. Hey, Drew. And morning. And it's actually criminal. So I've made it my work to make sure that people are safer and they stay away from alcohol and they stay away from prescription drugs as much as they can. When I went to California about 6 years ago, I realized that they were experiencing freedom that we didn't have in Arizona. And so I thought, well, gee, we could move to California, and the bottom fell out of the real estate market. And I thought, well, maybe it would be nicer to bring that home. So I looked at the map, and I saw that 4 out of 5 states that surround Arizona had either medical rights for marijuana, or they had decriminalized marijuana use, or both. Meanwhile, our state of Arizona was the toughest in the nation, carrying a felony penalty for any possession of marijuana. Any possession. So we've got all these states with all their rights, and here's Arizona in the middle. And I thought, where do we live? Why do we live in a place like this, and why can't we change it? So that's what we set about doing. We started with the Million Marijuana March, which is the global marijuana march, which happens in 300 cities around the globe, when everybody comes out on the first Saturday in May to basically just celebrate cannabis liberation if they have it, or protest the fact that they don't have it. And it's a glorious event that we had in 2008 for the first time. We had 1,500 people out at Steel Indian School Park, and we experienced a great deal of freedom that day. The Phoenix Police Department left us alone. Undeterred, they let us have our march. I'm just going to say it, everybody smoked that day. I can't incriminate myself. I don't know if I smoked, but yeah, and there were a lot of pictures. It was a beautiful day. Did anybody make it out to that march? Anybody in the room? Were you there? Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, no, we had a great time. And what we decided...
Did riots break out?
No, in fact, you know, and that's funny that you should bring that up. I'll just bring up a really short story in a book called Marijuana is Safer. There was an experiment done called the Lisbon experiment. Does anybody know this Lisbon experiment? Yeah, there's the gentleman back there nodding his head. Soccer game. And they said, you know what, for this day we're going to not make it a crime to smoke marijuana. Go ahead, soccer match. You guys know what happens in a soccer match. Everybody tears it up, they beat each other up, the whole thing, drinking, fighting. It's a soccer match. They allowed marijuana use that day. No arrests, no beatings, no fights. And it's just, it was a miracle, because this was a place where just that always happened every single time.
No hot dogs left.
No hot dogs left. Everybody wanted, you know, whatever, taffy or whatever they were selling. We got Rich in the back.
Woodstock, 500,000 people.
Were you there, sir?
I was there.
Oh, heck yeah. All right. Yeah, good.
No riots,
no riots?
no
fights
violence.
broke out?
So why didn't the Mellons put this down as a prescription drug and make billions?
Well, see,
Why did they go the other way?
well, they did. No, they did. They went for the prescriptions. DuPont was part of that. DuPont was one of the banking trio.
Yeah.
DuPont is chemical, and DuPont would
So why
spin
didn't they
out.
turn it into chemicals, sell it like crazy, and make fortunes?
They did, sir, and our people, our citizenry is full of it right now. It's called prescription drugs. They're rampant.
Yeah, but why not use this one?
I don't know, why don't you call them and ask?
You can't
They do have pot in
Can't patent the
prescription.
plant.
It's called
What
marijuana.
DuPont did during World War
It's a
II,
synthetic version that's not that good. And
hemp
people
was
complain about it all
very
the time.
popular. They were begging for people and doing advertising for people to grow hemp to make rope for the Navy. But when DuPont and Dow came out with nylon, when they came out with synthetic fibers and so on, hemp was so cheap, that was one of the reasons why they didn't just make it illegal for marijuana, but all cannabis, all hemp, because it was in competition with the chemical company.
It was the competition. They didn't want the competition. They wanted to get rid of hemp because hemp can replace absolutely virtually everything we touch,
Paper,
wear,
wood.
clothes, this housing, every single
That
thing.
makes no free market sense. They would take it over and make it.
No, sir, it
can't have
doesn't.
that.
It doesn't, and actually that's the crime of humanity, because we should be living in a natural world, but instead, the banker was working for the oil, the paper, and the chemical folks, and that's why they won. And this is the crime, because we should be living in a natural world full of a plant instead of made of chemicals, oils. Paper's fine, but guess what that brings? Deforestation, right? Is that good for anyone? No, it's not. We could be making it with renewable hemp that grows four times as much product as paper. Yes, ma'am.
Really, we have to think about the alcohol, the liquor industry. So, marijuana is an enemy to the liquor industry,
It's-
to the seed company.
Big alcohol, precisely. And the other thing about that is that, I'm sorry, finish your point.
Yeah, I mean, we're following the money, not only in the pharmaceutical company, but in the legalized alcohol. I mean, half the time I think, oh, I wish I really liked alcohol because I can buy it everywhere.
Yes,
Can
we
you
are.
Can you buy marijuana everywhere? No.
It's all about the money. When you follow the money, big alcohol is definitely one of the
Obviously,
other.
you need some help.
Yeah.
She only has about 5 minutes, so let's not take time
Okay,
with
so we're not
questions.
taking questions, I'm sorry. So we followed the money trail. Basically, again, why do I do this? Another thing that I do, not just for NORML, I also have my separate outreach to women called Women for Marijuana. You can go to womenformarijuana.org. Send your mom there, send any woman there that you want to explain this to, because basically what it breaks down is the fact that women are the caretakers. Women are the people that deliver to their families their food, their medicine. They're the ones that can explain to folks and who take care of folks. If they understand about marijuana and the safety of marijuana, they're going to pass that on to their family. When they see that their children themselves, their parents are being drugged with prescription drugs, they will realize with the research that is in that website that there is a safer alternative for women, especially against alcohol, because women, alcohol, dating, all that stuff don't mix. It's better to be with men who don't drink. I'll just say that. There's that. Men who don't drink are safer. Prop 203. Getting back to Prop 203 and the real stuff, I only have a few more minutes left. We passed it by about just over 50%, and we've got 14,000 patients in Arizona right now. 14,000 people in this state are not going to be a felon if they get pulled over and they have a little bit of marijuana. What have we had? We got a federal crackdown. You know why? Because nationally we got a Gallup poll that's got us at 51%. We are at 51% of the people in America believe that we should legalize marijuana. And that means we're at a tipping point, people, that this is happening. We are on a progressive slope. When we can get it up, we can legalize, and that's what NORML's all about. We want to go for full legalization. We're not just after medical. But the thing that happens with these states, once you knock down the fact that it's a there's medicinal qualities, then people realize, the citizenry realizes that, geez, this is something that we have to approach. This is something we really have to look at as a serious notion, this marijuana. It's not just about getting high. The California Medical Association has come out against the feds and against the fact that they're cracking down across the country. They're trying to shut down dispensaries. They're trying to shut these things down because they're running scared. We got 51%. Now that we have 51%, they know that we can't, we're just voter rule from now on. We've got 16 states with their medical rights, a little hard to take away. Jan Brewer tried it. She tried. She filed against she filed suit in May in federal court for a declaratory judgment whether the medical program here conflicts with federal law. Of course it conflicts. It's states' rights, and she's trying to get them to do that. Well, the Fed said, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and not recognize that. There's not been a specific case that we have to address, and because of that, it's too vague. We're not going to go ahead and throw down on that. So we're just still waiting. It's all in litigation still. During the time that we can't open dispensaries, folks have been in a gray area where now they can have a compassion club, which means they can come and they can purchase, say, something like a membership. And with that membership, they can receive a little bit of, they may give them some marijuana. And so that's what's happening now in Arizona since Jan Brewer's filed this, because we were supposed to have proper dispensaries where people can just go and pick up their medicine. It would be tested, it would be medically driven, and it was going to be clean and nice, and not like California, not like Colorado, which is what they didn't want. They wanted it to, you know, be really tight and medical. Well, since Jan Brewer has filed this suit, now it is kind of like Colorado. It is kind of like California. And we're all up in the air, and people are making money on marijuana in Arizona, and I'm happy to see it, because the more access there is in Arizona for people to the natural medicine, more people that come to me and tell me, gee, I'm off this prescription drug, and I've lost this much weight, and I feel tremendous because I'm self-medicating with marijuana, and I've gotten rid of these many prescription drugs. I feel like a victor every day when they say that, because the people's eyes are opening, and they're becoming healthy, and that's what it's all about. It's all about health at Phoenix NORML. So the ACLU and MPP, the Marijuana Policy Project, are basically fighting the state right now while we're in litigation. They're still issuing cards, so if you want to become a patient in Arizona and get your rights, not be a felon, at least have that little step towards total freedom, be sure to do that. And at Phoenix NORML, we can certainly set you up with a doctor who will recommend you, so you can receive your green card, your patient card. We had a few things. I don't know how many. Do I have any more time, or are we about 2 more minutes? What do you want me to talk about in 2 minutes?
I have a question. How's your decision?
Rates.
If you have the card, can you have a gun?
Yeah, no, they threw down that basically you can. What is it exactly with the gun? I believe you cannot buy a gun. You cannot purchase a gun if you have, but if you already have it, you can keep it. But if you get caught with that gun and marijuana, you don't want to be caught with both. But yeah, now you can't, right now you can't buy one.
How's your decision-making ability, whether, as you say, stoned or high or something? How's your critical decision thinking while you're under the influence of that sort of thing? And also, who would pay your salary? Which organization is subsidizing your interest? Yeah, you don't.
I work for free, sir. I work for free for 3.5 years, proud and happy. Yes, sir. I have a home cleaning service, adopt a homemaker.
How's your decision-making ability while you're under the influence of your spirit at this point?
Oh man, you really enjoy cartoons.
I
Didn't do anything if you lose
So you
weight.
can
I
make
guarantee
good
you
life
that.
decisions while you're under that.
My decision making is so much better than when I smoke marijuana than if I have a beer or two. I can't say this gentleman can probably
No, but I mean,
also
so
say
you
nine.
normally stay high all the time then, so you can make good decisions while you're driving and everything?
It is better than when you watch Fox News.
Car accidents.
Alert.
Is there anything else? We gotta move on. Go ahead, you got a final comment you want to make?
A final comment. Write to your congressman. There's nothing better than a handwritten letter. If you believe in this, write to your congressman. Tell them to get us off prescription drugs. They're poisoning their country. They're poisoning us.
Thank you, Kathleen.
PhoenixNORML.net.
The problem that Kathleen and I have gone over years on this back and forth is that our problem is not that we don't support what they, well, we don't really. I mean, a lot of times it's, please, sir, can we have permission to do what we want with our body? I refuse to ask permission. And it doesn't matter what my critical thinking skills are, as long as they're not being used to violate your rights. So the thing is that if I don't own my body, then somebody else does. That's the whole point. So that's where I start and stop, right there. And it doesn't help you lose weight, I can tell you that. Okay, Joe, right? Okay, now this is what we're going to do with Joe. He's new to this and so on. I'm going to go ahead and preface this.
Where'd you find it? What is it, dog?
Thomas was so kind as to make sure that at the request of me, to find someone down at Occupy Phoenix that could come and speak. And we were hoping to get something into the magazine, but it just didn't happen. Now this is what's going to happen. Let me tell you what we've done, what we're hoping will happen. around the country, a lot of libertarian different groups that we're working with and helping with DVDs, a lot of things that we passed out before you got there, that we've been doing around the country. Occupy Wall Street is just a symptom of a much larger problem. When I get into my presentation, I'll talk about it a little bit. But we went down there on the 15th when it started. It was the 15th, right? Yeah. We went down there. Yes, there was about, I don't know, probably half or even less than half that was more organized around whatever the Occupy Wall Street thing was. They had a common thread of whatever they wanted to do. The rest of the people were libertarians, some people from the right, even J.T. Reddy and his band of militias out there with their ARs in 100-degree weather and their collars up. I thought that was stupid. But I knew they weren't going to last very long. But the main thing is that I could see around the country, libertarians I've talked to all over, as much as they see, they may not really understand, from our perspective, what's going on, but many young people are going to just find out. They don't know. They're going to, somebody hand me something. Somebody explain something. Now, yes, I know it's going to try to be, subverted into whatever the heck somebody else wants to do. And whenever they get a crowd, whether it's a Tea Party, a campaign, or Occupy Phoenix, we're always there subverting on our own. Joe, I'm going to go ahead and let you do a couple of minutes, then I'm going to interview you and ask you some questions to help us go get the answers that we want. So go ahead and tell your story.
Excuse my voice, I've been doing a lot of yelling lately, and please bear with me. I've been up since Thursday. How much time do I have?
You can go about 3, 4, 5 minutes, get your thing, and then I'll start asking you some questions.
Okay, that's First of all, I'd like to start out and let you guys know we're not left-wing or right-wing. We are 70% independent. We are revolting. Now, later on, if we do get a better influence or leadership from a group like yourselves, then we can make a decision as to whether or not we would like to join and make a claim to our thought process. But right now, it's just a thought process. We don't like what we're seeing, and we're doing something about it. We're not just going to sit by and be stepped on and let the oppression and the misuse of money and power continue. With that, we do need the numbers to be able to vote and start passing laws and make a real change in our communities. So by bringing you guys in, having some like-minded views and goals, and using our numbers together, we can actually accomplish things for each other, because with us being there so much and for so long, we are turning into a family and a community. We're starting to trust and love one another. Like last time, we almost had a gentleman that didn't make it. He got hypothermia because of the rain. So I took my clothes off and I held him for about 30 minutes. But that made it real for a lot of people. Other than that, we are fighting every day. We're not allowed to sleep. I've been up since Thursday. We don't have restrooms there. We're treated worse than the animals in the zoos. So we're not going anywhere. And this fight is real for us. And we do need some help. We could use the numbers. And we are going to win. Regardless of how we get there, we're going to adapt like we have been. So with or without you, we're going to win. With you just makes it faster and easier. And by coming to an agreement now, we can develop those relationships that we don't have now. So in the end, we're not fighting each other. We can work with each other and find either a peace and agree to disagree, or we will agree and we can move on more powerfully. And you guys have a lot of good things to say. I wish you would come down and set up a tent and inform people of some of the things that are going on and that you know about that we don't know about, because that's what I'm about. I'm here for the education, and I believe that education, the full education of people and the history of the education, where it comes from and who it comes from, as well as the transparency of history and education, that will stop corporations from becoming humanized and destroying our economy and destroying our housing market.
So you are still down there now?
Yes. I'm going right back, actually.
Wow.
We have a massive weekend. It would help us and you if you came with us right now.
Not the 5th of November.
We just found out.
Transferring your bank account.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Were you in the Army?
I did 4 on a tour. I went to Afghanistan and did a year there. I just got home about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, while you were in Afghanistan, how long ago was it that you were in
I was there
Afghanistan?
from July 09 to June 2010.
Okay,
I was
so while
with
you're
the
in
first
Afghanistan,
striker group that was in Afghanistan.
so while you're in Afghanistan, when you got there and you were doing what you were doing, did you get the impression that you were fibbed to just a little bit about whatever it was they told you were doing?
That's why I'm here.
So this is, you already,
I do believe the military-industrial congressional complex is real, and that is why we're there. It's money. The root of all evil.
so what is it that you're willing to do here? I mean, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Okay, so you right out of high school, you went into the Army, and all of a sudden, boom, you find yourself in Afghanistan. Okay? So you go over there, you're kind of, I didn't when I was a kid, now I don't know any better, But you go over
Big
there,
bombs,
and you're
big
going,
guns, booms, bangs.
so you're kind of, trying to figure it out while you're there. You get back here, all this is going on, no jobs. You don't have anything, and this is one thing on Fox News, I remember this one segment where
Let
they
him
go,
talk, Ernie.
Shut up!
You're not a
Shut up, Alan!
You're not a
Shut up! You're not
Ernie. Control.
Liberty.
So what happens is, on Fox they were saying, these people that are out there have no job, and they don't have a job, so they're out there with nothing else to do, and just out there being ornery. And I'm going, yeah, because they don't have a job. They don't have anything else to do.
That's right.
So my question is, have you tried to get a job when you came back?
I've applied a few applications here and there, but honestly, I've taken the outlook now to completely go inert and remove myself from our economy to push and pressure the localization of economy.
Nice.
And I'm out of it until January because I want to go to college and advance my education, and the military will be paying me a basic housing allowance, so I will have a little bit of money to play with. A lot of it is going to be towards the movement and the propaganda and informing the people who aren't awake as to how corrupt our situation really is.
How much do you know? I mean,
Not
economic.
enough. Not enough.
So are you're there to learn. You're
Yes.
there to find out what's.
There are some very powerful brains. There are some men who know everything there is to know about money. There are people that know everything there is to know about, well, maybe not everything, but a lot more than me.
Are they still advocating you vote?
With the people at the top right now, I
Which
don't
I would say
honestly
really
think the votes matter. With the people at the top, the voting, I don't think it matters a whole lot. We have to get a little more of the power back and make sure they're counted and recount them and make sure they counted them correctly.
Where are you meeting down there?
We are on 2nd Avenue in Washington.
The Cesar Chavez down there.
Yes.
So how many people are down there, you think?
Last night, through the rain and the pain and the freezing, I'd say at least 30 strong. Through that.
So there has been on a regular basis a couple dozen people down there. There's always never fewer than a dozen or something like that.
I would say there's never fewer than about 15 to 20. On a very weeknight, there's 15 to 20. We do have low points, but our high points are very high.
How are you getting food, water? Where do you go to the bathroom? Do you ever take a bath?
There are 2 porta potties that I guess are for the security guards that work in this parking garage. So we walk around the block and go over there. As far as food, we have, from what I know, that there are families supporting throughout, like pretty much us. And other than that, I don't know of us getting any major donations from any groups or organizations.
Yeah, right now we are, sorry, right now we're entirely privately donated and supported, and for bathrooms and, showering, we have small businesses that help support us in that respect.
How about law enforcement? We had talked to them before, it's a long story, but the bottom line was this. If they show heavy-handedness, this will backfire on them. The initial day, they did. They corralled just like the Brooklyn Bridge thing. They put you in the Hancock Park, arrested, did it. We got on video. We did a show live that evening. We were down there talking to the people. They knew what was coming. Here we go. They did not want you downtown. Oh yeah, no, we're going to escort you. We're going to walk you. We're going to be buds. We're going to take you up to Hancock Park up here where you can hang for another 4 hours. then we're gonna arrest you, okay? Behind the scenes, there's stuff going on, we'll talk after this is over, and I'll tell you guys what was going on. But the thing is that the police, city government, and somebody made a decision not to arrest you guys and let you be there 24/7. Why, in your opinion?
I'm sorry, they now changed their mind or they to the 27? That is an excellent question. I think that it's hard for me to say this, but I guess the police department.
Can you speak up, sir?
Yes. I think, as we can see with all the reactions in the other cities, for example, Oakland and Atlanta, Chicago, when the police come with violent reactions, the people come back in huge, gigantic numbers.
Yes.
Next time. I think Phoenix PD has wisened up to that, and so they are trying to wait us out, which is probably the strongest thing to do against an occupation like this, try to wait us out without brute force. That's my answer.
So the steadfastness for you personally to stay there is for how long? You want to occupy?
I did a year there. I can do a year here.
Yeah!
What are your goals? What do you want?
Mine is the advancement of education. I believe we learn in a very ancient style, and we now know that there are 3 different ways to learn, and we need to start incorporating those into school systems. I also believe through putting you in a desk and pointing you at the back of someone's head, they singularize you to the point where you feel like you're alone all the way through school, and then you go into a community and work at a job inside of it. So we don't have the society, we don't have the friendships, we don't have the trust and the bonds that we used to have when people worked in factories hand to hand right next to each other and looked each other in the eyes and spoke on a regular basis. So I want to maybe mix things up a bit and take the chairs out, or I don't know what will work, but we have to change how we're teaching our children to give them the best education possible. We're not doing that.
Do you feel you have a good education, or getting a beat on it, or you're looking?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. To answer your question, what are our goals? I'm a registered libertarian, and I think we have a lot of the same goals, and our biggest goal is Occupy Wall Street, the entire movement, is to return to the Constitution. I don't need to tell you guys how far away from the Constitution we are, how much corruption there is, and how little respect we have for the Constitution these days. That's a huge goal of ours.
Okay, the perception is that it's a bunch of left that want to go socialist and freaking Obama again. So, I mean, how true is that?
Fox News, I don't know, I think that's where that's coming from. They misled you in this. We are not socialists. We are not for a redistribution of welfare. We do not want a handout. And it's a little thing on your jobs. Many of us do actually have jobs, and yes, there are some that are between jobs right now, but they are working hard. And I think they think it's the system, and we've been tricked by the 1% who own too much of the power in our politics.
Yet Joe wants to go to school on tax money.
Good.
I don't know. You
think
send
I
me to
earned my tax
Afghanistan with
money.
a promise you're going to send me to school. You better freaking give me my money.
Look at the news a little bit. It has the appearance that you're against capitalism, corporations or something. In my mind, I'm thinking you should be probably focusing on the politicians.
Well, they
Let's join them.
and
You can go
what
there.
we're against
Yeah,
is the
let's go
person.
down there. Yeah, head down there and you can be part of the movement. You got an idea, then go out and do it.
And the bureaucracy.
Well, the thing that ties in with the corporations, when you humanize them and give them the right to make decisions as a person would, and then not only that, with their power and their strong money, they're bleeding into the bureaucracy by paying these politicians who are corrupt and manipulating our system.
Finish,
If
please.
the
Let him
politicians
finish.
are corrupt, then maybe you should focus on the corruption in the politics.
The politicians aren't the only ones who are corrupt. The businesses are too.
You let him finish. You ask him a question,
I
let
was
him
trying to
finish.
communicate with
I know, but let him finish.
Excuse me, I was trying to.
No, you weren't. You were interrupting. So now I'm interrupting you. Do you like it now?
Sure.
Okay, so there you go. So you ask him a question, let him finish.
He never responded.
I know, but then
I
you're
want to know.
interrupting.
I want to know
I'm
why
interrupting you.
our Congress doesn't have the balls to do this. Where the hell is the spine?
Because they don't have any.
Go ahead and make a final statement or anything you want to say.
What I do want to say is we just found out today we have been planning this march for Oakland and all the issues going on there. It's going to culminate and end at our Civic Center, I believe. I am probably wrong. Sorry, but I think it's the Civic Center, and it's the what's the thing we're doing today, the party at the end, the Unity Fest. And that isn't us, that's somebody else who's expecting a lot more people than just us, somewhere upwards of more than 1,000. The number I was given was a lot higher than that, but I would feel like I would be embellishing if I said that number, but more than 1,000. So we're gonna go there and try to communicate with these people and hopefully take some of them back to our base and let them set up shop and join the family. Also, there is a Alzheimer's walk today, so there's going to be a whole mass of people who may not be from here, but who are on looking and are going to speak about the things that we have on our signs and that things that we are representing. So if you want to inform people across the nation and maybe get some people through an online community to join your cause, you can do that there. And then on Sunday there's a 10K, so there will be another mass of people who are running right down by us because we chose to sit right next to City Hall, and that will let us get our voice out some more. Also, because of this, now the police are finally realizing it's not worth the money to keep them with us because we're nonviolent. They can't be with us for the next 2 days, so we might bust out in an Oakland style riot because we don't have our babysitters now. But we got 24 to 48 hours to make a very clear statement that we are the nonviolent ones. So it's going to stay that way, and we're going to continue our move.
I know we've heard a lot of things about Occupy, and I encourage you guys to come down to Cesar Chavez Plaza. Yeah. Talk to us yourselves. I guarantee you we're the friendliest, most welcoming community in downtown Phoenix, period. Just come talk to us. We're happy to have you.
More friendly than the cops?
Oh, certainly. Yes, sir.
Thanks
for having us, too.
Yeah, no, it's our pleasure. And we knew this. You know, before we went down there, we knew a lot of the people. We had communicated. There's so many. If you read our mag or e-zine this month and last month, Occupy Philly, at a planning meeting, they had over 1,000 people show up.
Whoa.
At the planning meeting.
Whoa.
So we're like going, you know what? We can help. So immediately we FedExed, or 3 days or whatever, hundreds of DVDs that were all libertarian anarchist stuff. So they go, oh man, this was perfect, right on. So we pass this stuff out for young men just like this, and a lot of people, I imagine there's some people there with their laptops and nothing else to do. And they, watch DVDs. You got 4 or 5 guys sitting around watching YouTubes on one thing, if not a dozen. You have like little movie stuff going on. You got information being passed out. We did it on the 15th when we went. We talked to the leaders, the people that got arrested. Black Chris Brodden, got arrested. He was advocating, resist. We're like, no, go, man. You need to read some Gandhi or something, man. So this is, I already know where this goes because it always does. It's history over and over and over and over. And you would think that the big bad guys had learned their lesson. They haven't. In fact, they need the violence. They require it. It justifies their existence. So I am afraid that something is going to happen. And in the months to come, and we got more time, I'll tell you the stories about me, communicating with the city council and talking to the chief of staff and the blah, 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 and the day after, and the radio shows that we did, and the thing and so on. Behind the scenes, we've been working with these guys for 20 years. We predicted this as libertarian candidates for years, saying, this is going to happen, then this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and guess what? You're 4 steps into this thing. You really want to go over here? Seriously? Some do. My fear is that this is coming from a way on high level, which is why in the 90s all the crazy libertarians and patriots were freaking out about multi-jurisdictional task forces. Now you call them fusion centers. And the reason is because there will be a top-down, and all of a sudden Houston gets air drones that have taser and grenade and shooting capability. Oh, but not to be outdone, what happens? $500,000 riot vehicles and everything to Scottsdale. Then Scottsdale, all of a sudden we got, Shelton. Where's Shelton? Shelton, give me your 3-minute spiel on your settlement, and I can tell you what that turned into. That's one of the things we have in our magazine, is that because this sumbitch won against the city of Scottsdale for violating his rights, $28,000, they had to go to a vote, and he gets up and he said what to them, and then they're out on the street doing checkpoints and roadblocks on the highway in North Scottsdale, right up the road here, to make the money back. Because of you.
It's your fault, Shelton.
That's not it. They're going to actually raise the taxes on the citizens because of this. And I argued at the city council that they not give me the check because they were going to raise taxes on the citizens. They said whatever and just did it anyway. So anyway, I had this check and I got it from Mark Victor. I went to go cash it, and I went down to the bank, and they said, we can't cash this. Can't cash it? Why not?
No ID.
We don't have the money. Ooh. I said, what do you mean you don't have the money? We don't have the money. So I'm going to try to play this real quick. It's only a minute. So I'll just give you a little sample of it.
So who is it?
It's craziness. This is I'm at the AmTrust Bank, and
Shelton, what bank was the check drawn on?
AmTrust.
AmTrust.
Rich's favorite bank.
Quiet down, please.
You have the money here physically to keep you low. But that ain't my problem. My problem is Dad has a bum check right now. Well, you can't get cash for it. I'll give you a cashier's check, but I can't give you cash. Well, how am I going to cash that? That's bum. If you don't have it, then that's a bum check. Well, you'd have to go to... Right. Most people have a bank account. They deal with their bank. But what do you do? How do you resolve the remedy? What remedy do you have? We tell our customers, if you get a account with us, you have to give us notice to get cash. You just can't come to the bank and say, I want cash. Wow. That's how banks operate. Would your bank have that money? Well, sorry. I'm just wondering. I'm just curious. We're in the bank where they don't have 70 grand. You're asking for $1 million. What's the most that you have? I'd get about 5 right now. You're kidding me. You got more than 5 grand on hand, dude.
that is just a little bit of it. But basically, they said they did not have the money. So they said, come back next week. We have to order it. Order it. Now, this is the bank that my attorney deposited the check from Scottsdale. But somehow they don't have my money when I go down there. They said I had to come back next week. So I thought it was real fishy. So I called the Arizona Banking Institute. I said, hey, AmTrust said they don't have any money. They said, we don't deal with AmTrust. I said, but they're in Arizona. It's a banking institution. We don't deal with it. Call FDIC. So I called FDIC. I said, hey, AmTrust said they give me a bum check. They said they'll have my money when they find it convenient to give it to me. You know, what can I do about it? And they said, AmTrust? We've never heard of no AmTrust. I said, what do you mean you don't have no AmTrust? Well, let me look, blah, 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 and he starts filling, and all of a sudden he comes up with it. He says, oh, that bank's insolvent. That went under 2 years ago. And I'm going, are you kidding me? So I said, this is the grand scale that we're on. It's insanity. So he went and looked, and he said, yeah, that bank went under 2 years ago. And I said, well, obviously it didn't. I walked into it. You know, I took my 2 legs and walked in. He said, are you telling me that bank said AmTrust on the building and you walked into it? Yes, I did. He goes, oh, that's wrong. They can't be doing that. That bank doesn't exist. So this caused a chaos, and I guess they called Victor, and now all of a sudden they want to meet with me Monday and escort me in there. So I don't know exactly what happened.
No money.
Yeah, all of a sudden we found it. But he was telling me I had to come back next Friday. Yeah. I mean, but this is crazy. It's talking about how they control the money so much that it's not like I went down there and was asking for $1 million. You know, this wasn't a lot of money. But yeah, he said, I can indefinitely not cash your check if I want to. I said, so it is a bum check. No, it's not a bum check. I don't know the exact terminology he said, but basically it's a bum check.
Basically, it's a bum.
Just happened.
Which branch did you go to?
I went to, it's called two of them. I went to one, and the actual one that was the bank was printed on, we went to that bank.
Camelback and
I called them, and they
Central?
said they didn't have money either.
or the one on Shea and Tatum?
They don't have, no, one on in Chandler, and then I went to the one on Camelback in 60. Yes, sir.
You need to call the comptroller of currency and report that to them, and what they gave you was a negotiable instrument.
Yeah, blah, 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 oh my God.
They said good negotiate, not pay.
Okay, you guys can talk about it later. We're running out of time.
Next.
Later. Out of time. My turn. And Ellen's not here, so I get to talk. Okay. Let me tell you the chronology of what happened so you kind of get an idea. One, this is not like a big giant secret to anybody anyway. After the election cycle, and all of a sudden the Tea Party Express was coming. You guys remember that? Searchlight, Ed and a bunch of the activists, Gene, Donna, a bunch of people went up, a bunch of signs, and we had all kinds of fun. I was down on the road somewhere. What happened is that some people that we know, went and did some searching on the Tea Party Express website. Well, it goes, you know, so-and-so that works for so-and-so that what is RNC, okay? So it's the Republican National Committee and friends and whoever they are, and, you know, it's which winds up being Rove and or Rove wannabes, and they come in and we're the Tea Party. Then you have Tea Party patrons. You got Tea Party this, Tea Party that, and it's all about, as long as they put the word Tea Party in it, we'll see what we can get away with. The thing is that you know this is, let me tell you what it wasn't. It wasn't Ron Paul libertarian foreign policy, get rid of all the military bases, bring the troops home, civil liberties Tea Party. Yeah, you know, I guarantee it wasn't that, all right? So you could see what was happening. We tracked it enough to where it go, RNC, there, we're done. You guys just wait. We'll see what happens. So then I get an email. You know, Gary sends a lot of really good stuff that you see on Freedom's Phoenix. Now, the screen, what you see here is a logo for Americans for Prosperity. Now, there was a, bring this over here. There was a video that was done by Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera did a special on the Koch brothers, the Tea Party, where this right-wing kind of thing was going, how many congressmen they got in 10, they're going to do more in 12. David Koch and them, they're all happy with themselves and everything. One of the Koch brothers ran as vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party in 1980. He put $1 million of his own money in it. They blocked out time, back then when there was only a few networks, ABC, NBC, CBS for, I don't know, 5-15 minutes or whatever it was. Get up, libertarians are libertarians, we're all libertarians, there's the money to tell you about libertarians. Well, Reagan was running as this libertarian thing. He's Reason Man, I'm a libertarian. Libertarian this, libertarian that. So Ronald Reagan got elected on libertarian rhetoric. So this was, now that doesn't mean he did it, but I mean, you know, that was the rhetoric. So it's very popular. You know, people want to be left alone, this independent kind of thing. You know, government's too big, government's not the solution, it's the problem, that kind of thing. Well, what happened was, I watched this film, and it was very, I wouldn't say super critical, but it was critical of all this undue influence by these people that have really secretly, you know, which is not that big a secret, have been funding the Tea Parties across the country doing whatever. Yeah, blah, 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 I don't care. What was interesting to me is they didn't mention foreign policy, war, military bases by the hundreds, 100-something countries. Al Jazeera network in the Middle East. And I'm going, they're not aware that there's some war over there going on? So it was interesting to me to go, I'm like, I'm gonna do a little bit more research on this. So the first thing that I did is I called and I talked to Tom Jennings. I know Tom for a long time, and we're on semi-friendly basis and, get along and so on, but he knows that I know what his deal is. So I'm like, Tom, man, he goes blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, who do you think you're talking to, man? This is their advocacy. We have to set the budget in such a way that it gets balanced by 2060. And I go, you seriously? Who do you think you're talking to, Tom?
I'm already dead, man.
You can say that with like a straight face? 2060? Where the hell did that even come from? The reason is because Americans for Prosperity has made a conscious decision. It's all about getting Republicans elected is what it's about, okay? They want their crew in. They have made a conscious decision. We do not talk about foreign policy, war, or civil liberties. Civil liberties include drugs, abortion issue, gun rights. All they want to talk about is the budget. And I go, how in the hell can you genuinely talk about the budget and not even have the gazillions of dollars for this empire that's going on that's putting us in the you can't not talk about, over the next 50 years we can blah, blah, blah. Are you freaking kidding me? Straight face. These are the marching orders that they have. Renee, a few weeks ago, had a gentleman, what is his name? Wes or Les?
Les, L-E-S.
What's his last name?
White.
Okay, Les White is a guy that's in, the Tea Party, we're independent Tea Party. You talk about it, he goes, everybody says we're getting money. I never got that check from anybody. We're independent Tea Party. And I go, no, you think you are, but you're in the envelope that they've created for you. Barry Hess is on, the candidate for governor as a libertarian for past few election cycles, is on a lot of these lists. He has a lot of them posted on his Facebook and so on, so he communicates with the right wing a lot. And their whole thing, Charlie Powell runs the pachyderms or whatever, all these different Republican groups. Their thing is this, but we're not talking about foreign policy or the war. War's off the table. They're going to Iran. Iran's always been Iran. So this is, and we're pulling out of Iraq, so we can go to Kuwait, so we can go to Iran, okay? So this is all just pretend. So I'm going, all these guys keep talking about the Ryan, I don't know, Ryan's some congressman or senator or something. He's come up with, I have a plan and it's 50 years from now. Okay, so they're around this concept that put us in and we're going to fix it. Well, at the same time, I'm going, I can see where this is going because we went through this before. They do a thing called the Constitutional Convention for a Balanced Budget. And this was all about them just getting a constitutional convention so that they can say they get a balanced budget. They don't really give a crap about balanced budget. They want the Constitutional Convention. When you open up the convention, man, it's open. There is no, the only thing that the states can do is call it. The only thing that the Congress can do is fulfill that request, and here we got a convention, and everything's up for grabs. You can say you want to limit it. And the states that have called for it have been for several issues. It was Equal Rights Amendment in the 70s and 80s. Rockefeller and them, they had the drawn-up documents. It was called the Constitution for the New States of America. And the Bill of Rights was gone, and they had privileges granted by the government instead of rights and all this other stuff. You look it up. Rockefeller, Constitution, New States of America. And that was in place. They were ready to do it and pushing it all over the country until Oklahoma City. What happened in Arizona when Symington was governor, they created a constitutional defense, blah, 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 with the Attorney General, Grant Woods, yay. He was to defend the state against the federal government and we're going to whatever. A woman some of you may know who she is, Georgia Hargan. I mean, some of you guys know who she is. Georgia Hargan was the secretary for the state party of the Republicans. Her husband was a postal carrier and a libertarian. They kept us informed of everything that was going on. She got appointed to this committee. What she found out, it wasn't to defend the state from the federal government. It was the selection process for the delegates to go to this convention.
Here, here.
So they're going, ouch, man. Some people understood exactly what was going on. So we did an initiative for the 94 election cycle, and it was a repeal of the Constitutional Convention. And the reason was the John Birch Society back in the 80s and through the early 90s knew that you needed, I don't know, was it 33, 34 states or something? 34 states, and there was 32 that had already called for a Constitutional Convention for either, it was Equal Rights Amendment, abortion, and then they wanted to add the Balanced Budget Amendment. And for different ways, they had gotten up to 32. It doesn't matter what you call it for, it's just that you call it. So no, we're just going to limit it to certain things, and anything just to get them to call it. Florida kind of went, we're not doing this, we're going to rescind. In Connecticut, they were in the line. All of a sudden, Nevada comes up and says, you know what? Legislature just passed a resolution rescinding our call for a constitutional convention and expunged the record that we ever called for it. Washington, American Legislative Exchange Council, which is just, bipartisan, nonpartisan, we rule you people. 7,000 legislators belong to this thing. And every time you go, they get a loose leaf binder or now a CD of all the bills that they need to pass. And if they get them passed, well, then they move up the ladder. It's like a game we used to have in government in high school. You had like 3 things you had to get, and the more things you got, the better grades you got. Well, in this case, it's just more money. Okay. So while everybody's losing money now, Congress, increased their wealth over 20-25%. I just heard that number too. I wonder why. So what they did is they said, we need to have this call. Well, Nevada goes, we rescind it. And they go, you can't do that. And they go, do what? That's how it went. So all of a sudden, they're back on their heels. They're pushing. Oklahoma City happens. And then it just went away. They went, we're just going to step back. We don't know what the hell's going on. So here it comes again. A year and a half ago, all of a sudden, the Goldwater Institute comes online pushing for a constitutional convention. Nick Dranius is one of their attorneys and so on. I know him for a while. It's a long story. But he comes on my show, Constitutional Convention, you shouldn't worry about Constitutional, it's all good Constitutional Convention. If you got the Goldwater Institute doing it, that means you got Cato doing it. If you got Cato doing it, that means it's going into this Tea Party, Coke thing, whatever they want to take over the Constitution. Do away with it, whatever the heck they want. Not that I think they give a crap about it anyway. But, as Dr. Paul would argue, is that the rhetoric behind the Constitution, the promises that they made in the Federalist Papers. Now, the Anti-Federalists, the Libertarians go, you give the central authority any kind of power to determine, even judge their own rules, and you'll wind up in the free speech zone in the corner when you got the legislative, executive, judicial deciding whether you can talk or not. Okay? So, you already knew it was, crap from the beginning. But it was a promise. Do we have any of those shirts, Drew, that have the graph? I wanted to pass out a couple of these shirts. We came up with this thing, government doesn't work, I want my money back. And the way it looks is it has a line that goes up like this, and that's government promises. Then it has individual liberty. It's the Depression, Federal Reserve, 9/11, okay? When you have the gap between what you have and what you are promised gets so big that it's unsustainable, what happens? You have a revolution. So that's what this is. It's the revolution gap. Government doesn't work, I want my money back. Now the thing is, the anarchist A and the A, So I'm going, all right. I see, I can see this coming. So then I go, all right. I go on to Americans for Prosperity, and I look at this thing. I'm talking to Tom, and it says, Mitt Romney confirmed to speak at the Defending American Dream Summit, which was like, I don't know, yesterday or the day before or something. It includes Herman Cain, Rudy Giuliani, Andrew Breitbart, okay? No Ron Paul. Okay, I'm just wondering. Later I find out, I put up there, he sent me an email saying that Ron Paul was asked, and he said no. Yay. Okay. Now, because I understood that what their thing is, and they're going to be talking about, you're going to get a big, giant push to put the Constitution on the operating table. We are in trouble. So then I'm going, all right, so this is of interest to me. So I want to talk to this guy Les, because he's all, we're independent and independent, Tea Party independents. And I'm saying, there's some things that you need to know. And the reason that I use this one graphic from Batman is there's a scene at the end where the Joker goes, know what this scene is from, what he says? He goes, when he's going to blow up the ships, he goes, and here we go. And I'm going, here we go. What's going? 4 reasons for the right to embrace, not fear, an Article 5 convention. This is from the Goldwater Institute, put this out. Center for Constitutional Government Director, Nick Dranius. Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution gives state legislators the power to initiate constitutional amendment, okay? And we shouldn't be afraid of it, because, and what's his final argument? I had him on the show. And he says, well, they never really actually do anything anyway. And to ratify, you know how it is. They'll never going to do this unless they're going to get something they want. And I'll guarantee it isn't more freedom. And who are the people that are going to have this convention? Who's going to populate it? Who's going to make the decisions? Who's going to vote? Who's going to craft it? The sons of bitches that did this to us. What do you think? All of a sudden they love us now? So I know where this is going. So then I get an email. Where that came from was an email from Roy Miller, which is, it's a long story, but it's an economic discussion group that, I go to, and they, it's the boys talking. There's hardcore libertarians in there and some not. And he's like, oh yeah, Goldwater. He's definitely, if the big boys say he's for it. Now, Roy Miller was co-chair along with Karen Johnson for Ron Paul for his 08 campaign. But I knew what Roy, I warned him. Roy's, he wants to make sure he gets invited to John McCain's, Christmas party. Trust me, okay? He was the only one in Arizona that had the opportunity as a delegate, as the co-chair of Ron Paul's campaign in 08 at the National Convention to vote for Ron Paul, and he didn't. And I'm going, okay, well that's a non-distinction. Tom DeWeese did an article that we published in, the last one or 2 editions ago of our e-zine, and we put it on the site also. A constitutional convention cannot be controlled, and he gives why and how and all the reasoning and so on. Some guys in that discussion group took a copy from our magazine, this article, and sent it to everybody else in the discussion group and said, Roy's full of crap, and so is the Goldwater Institute. Oh, the flames ensued. So Alex put it out, I don't think it's going to go over as easy as they think it is. So then I'm talking to Les. He's Mr. No, we're autonomous. We're not going to be part of Tea Party. We don't have anything to do with whatever. And I'm going, bullshit, okay? Are you talking about foreign policy, closing bases, ending wars, bringing troops home, saving the money, investing in whatever? Hell no. Why? Well, that's just not what we're talking. We knew. Who decided that? Where did that memo come from? Who convinced you of this? Nobody. We just all decided. Right. So I start looking. He starts giving me some names. I'm going, well, what about this and what about that? Who's this and who does this? Because I know. I already know before they even knew. Before the guys that did it knew. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was coming. It always does. So I'm going, okay, so where are we now? There is a state list and a national contact. Information and direction either comes from the bottom up or the top down. Which way do you think the flow of information will go when the timing is the most important? I'll be adding to this issue on a regular basis now that I can demonstrate a flow of direction as we get near the important milestones of the 2012 election cycle. Arizona Tea Party members are very quick to state that they are independent from outside controls, etc., but consider this. The national contacts across the country will make it very clear that foreign policy, war and empire, is not an issue of consideration. Civil liberties, drug war, abortion, gun rights, etc., are not issues of consideration for the independent Tea Party members. The issue is getting Republicans elected to fix the economy and balance the budget. You'll start hearing a lot about a limited constitutional convention for a balanced budget amendment, and after I wrote this is when I got that other one. And I'm going, na freaking no.
1 minute.
And I bet you that it was generated.
1 minute.
What?
We got less than 60 seconds on the tape. May I switch?
You got it. Go.
We're on. It's okay.
Okay. There will be nothing about any of these issues that are costing the most money, but you will definitely hear a lot about opening up. Excuse me while you interrupt. You will hear a lot about a constitutional convention to pay off the debt by 2060. Now this was, I didn't understand this. I'm like, why would he even say that? 2060? Are you freaking serious? Yes. I find out later that this is part of this plan for the Constitutional Convention to have a balanced budget with Orion blah 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 to balance the budget by 2060. They're running for election as Congress and Senate and President in this election cycle in 2012 on the idea that you should trust them in 50 years they're going to balance this thing. Wow. And these are the conservatives. And Tom was mad that Ron Paul took so long to get specific in how he was going to cut, this $1 trillion cut and bring in the empire and all this. It's not like he hasn't said this. And he goes, well, he could have been more specific before. And I go, what is it? You're like the press. I mean, why do you keep it? He said, I want to eliminate the department of. I don't know. What do you want me to, you want him to give the sub-departments? I mean, it's the whole department, okay? So there's no real logic to this, and it's not meant to be. All I had to do was wait and see the flow chart. Well, here it is in Arizona, and I'll bet it doesn't look different across the nation. And then a little later, I get this forwarded to me, and this was the, the Constitutional Convention. Here's the screenshot. They have in here Arizona Tea Party groups from Anthem to Yuma. Every single one is listed here. Arizona Tea Party, national Tea Party groups on the same page. It's Arizona Tea Party Patriots.org, but it's all of these guys put together. It's all about lists. And who's at the top of this list? Tom Jennings. Americans for Prosperity. Who's our statewide affiliate? Americans for Prosperity, Tea Party Patriots, blah, 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 blah. This is all Central Command. So I want to be very clear for the record on here. What is today? Remember the 5th of November, 2011, okay? The entire Tea Party movement will have its direction coming from wherever, and it will not include foreign policy or civil liberties. It will be all about just getting Republicans in there elected so that they can do a couple of things. Why do you think these people are put? Romney has always been the guy. Romney's the guy. Always was. But you got the secret handshake people, Alex Jones going on about, and the Federal Reserve and the Tea Party and the groups and the clubs of and everything, pushing at various different levels. Perry and Kane. Why? Perry, I mean, that guy, Gardasil, NAFTA Highway, I knew that guy was done before he even started. I was like, why are they even running? He's got a mess. He's got something that he's trying to implant in our head. What is it? Energy independence. Energy this, energy that, energy, domestic energy. Well, who has all the energy? Well, you can follow that train up to this guy, whatever. People with money, okay? So it's going to be in subsidized this and competition. It's just more monopoly, all All right? So you have him screaming energy independence as best he can because he's got issues. Then you have Kane. You know, and Justin Raimondo from antiwar.com wrote a great column. It said, Herman Cain, N-E-I-N, 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 999 German, okay? Which means no. So he goes, 999. I'm like, you know, I can't believe I didn't think of that. You know? I feel so jilted. Okay, so here we have Cain coming out, and what was the first thing that we noticed? He used to be a what? Seriously? All this is going on, the next generation understand what's going on, and here you're taking some guy from the Fed, and what do they focus on? Hey man, I'm a pizza guy. Yeah. I was national, and you know, I went there after I got done listening to all the women. Okay? So I'm just like, he was destined to fail too, but what was his purpose? Implant in your head a consumption tax, a national sales tax, a VAT tax, some kind of a national trading tax that the national government gets another pipeline of revenue into the government. This is what's being done. Energy, money, new money stream for the man. Okay? They're just going to go book, and what happens? Here comes Michelle Bachmann. You don't.
Harry's doing the same thing.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, he's doing it 20% or some crap. So here you go, and even the fair tax, heck, even Gary Johnson starts going on about that. And I'm just like, yeah, next. I mean, you know, Gary's a nice guy. Came, he had a nice party for him. Big woohoo down in Fountain Hills. You know, Gary, you know, whatever. But, you know, the thing about Gary Johnson, I was so encouraging for him to come. Here's a guy running as a Republican that was a governor of a border state, vetoed over 700 bills.
Yeah.
Just veto. Won as a Republican re-election, didn't he? As a Republican in a Democratic state, vetoing all his bills, balancing budgets. I'm going, and they don't want to hear from this guy? Of course not. He's all about veto, veto, veto. And against the drug war and war. Hell no, we don't need two of them up there. Okay? So what was the criteria? They had 5 polls that CNN used as the criteria for putting him up. Now, when Fox did theirs and the first one and different, they allowed him to be in because they used different polls. The 5 polls that CNN used to determine whether he could be up on the stage or not didn't include his name in the poll.
Amazing.
So I'm going, wow, man. Now this is the reason I said, look, this is why we did the Levolution for Dr. Paul. They were going to do exactly the same, and they did exactly the same thing. But the people were so open and so ubiquitous with all these signs. We're going, go ahead and make our day. Well, now they don't know what the hell to do. He comes out, he wins Iowa and New Hampshire as if I trust the system anyway. I saw it work in New Hampshire. I went to these. I was in New Hampshire. I was in Iowa. I was in a bunch of other states. But those two, it was so obvious what happened. So we all knew it too, so it's whatever. The thing is that I am of the opinion that barring somebody getting shot or something happening or his wife get sick or Lord knows what, it's going to be Romney versus Paul. Kane and Perry are there to soften our cortex for, you know, some kind of energy thing with the Republican de la whatever, and let's go kick the shit out of Iran, and for this consumption tax, some new stream of tax. It's going to lower your taxes, though. We pinky swear, okay? But you're going to wind up with an income tax and a national sales tax. And everywhere around the world that they've done this to say and promise that they're going to take this one out, put this in, you wind up with both. So I'm going, and you're Greece. So I'm going, okay. There was a show just a couple days ago that Ron Paul did on Joe Scarborough on MSNBC. Kicked their ass. Bob Woodward from the Washington Post, all the King's Men, you know, the Watergate tapes and all that, you know, Deep Throat and all that kind of stuff. He was here. Had some guy from Huffington Post go, yeah, but what about, and I love Obama. The two hosts that were real supportive of Ron, and Ron kicked the crap out of him. Ron is starting to get a little bit more passionate as he's seeing the stupidity of this. He goes, seriously, how stupid are you people?
Yeah. Very.
Very. No, they're just bought. They're
Yeah.
bribed. They know. They know.
Yes.
Joe Scarborough gets up and he goes, he was in Congress. He was a congressman. He goes, I remember, he goes, in 2003, Ron Paul got up and said, 1 to 3, I think it was in 3. He goes, the housing bubble is going to be created by these incentives, low interest rates, you're doing the Freddie and Fannie Mae, it's so obvious, Austrian economics, you're going to do this, it's going to do this, it's going to pop, and it's going to do the entire planet. And we are going to be in depression, blah, 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 blah. Predicted. Yeah, you want to see the tape? This is what's going to happen. It happened. And you can go yada, 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 yada all you want about how we're going to, have more spending and debt is going to cure all the problems of spending and debt. Or you're assuming I got my glasses. Anyway, it says it right there. So my thing, this is what I wanted to share with you guys. To think that Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party movement are different things is to be naive. It is the same thing. It is more controls. It's more of, there will be a coalition. Why aren't we talking together? Why aren't we communicating? The guys that do just a second. The guys that write the books and go on Jon Stewart on the Daily Show are talking about they used to talk and go golf and this, and oh my God, when Boehner goes and golfs with Obama, and he gets vilified, we need to talk and be buddies so that we can, come together and screw the American people some more. So I'm going, the people that think this left-right paradigm, this red state, blue state BS, thinking that somehow one side is a balance to the other, means you have not been paying attention. And I guarantee you there is going to be more spending, there's going to be more war, there's going to be more death, there's going to be in the name of whatever you want, and the big thing that they're talking now is national service. And they are pushing that hard. I know it doesn't have to be military. Hell, even Jon Stewart's pushing this. And when you become a slave to the state, well, we already are. But I mean, you actually, get to wear the uniform, do the old brown shirt thing. They'll make it purple or something.
Who gets a badge?
With room and
Shiny
board.
badge. Shiny badge. And a title.
And room and board. Oh, and free
Oh, yeah, and barracks. Because they're talking about, here's one Paul, he gets up and he says, after World War II, we had 10 million people come back from war. We cut the budget 60%, and all of a sudden, full employment within a year. Boom, the greatest boom time America ever had. You just got government out of the way. And what do they want to do now? Hell no. So what happened? Bob Woodward comes up and he goes, well, we got to go through austerity. You're not going to get elected on saying austerity and cutting budgets and not having programs. He goes, I don't use austerity. There's no sacrifice when you get your liberty back. Right. It's not a sacrifice when you get to keep all that tax money you're paying to somebody. It's not a sacrifice when you get to do what you want with your property. It's not a sacrifice when you get to build on your land. It's not a sacrifice when you don't have to go die in a foreign land. It's not a sacrifice when you see my point? It's not a sacrifice. The guys living off of us. All the bailouts. All the handouts. This rhetoric is going to amp up and continue. And there are libertarian groups and organizations to piss off Alan Corwin no end that are all over this country doing what they're doing here, doing what they're doing in Philadelphia, doing what they're doing all over the country. Washington and New York, libertarians that I know. In Washington, D.C., here's Adam Kokesh, man. They're out there just giving one first. And the thing is that these young people like Joe, and what's your name, sir?
Derek.
And Derek, they just want to know. And some of them are libertarian already know. What's going to happen when Generation Next has the capacity to click on these and go straight to wherever the information is instantly as they're standing there, walking in the protest line, reading. You have no idea what's coming. Neither do I. But what's scary to the bad guys is neither do they. Yes, sir. You want to say something, Joe?
Yeah, we were trying to clarify between ourselves. Earlier you said that there will be coming where we contact the Tea Parties. Or were you saying there will be
No. Okay, let me tell you how it works. I'm going to give you an education right now. You ready? Here we go. Who's funding on the left? I mean, blah, 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 Soros. Okay? Who's funded on the right? Blah, 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 Cook Brothers. Okay? You know, or people like them. It doesn't matter. Okay? Their interests, I guarantee, are not your interests.
Yeah.
But they will use the ouch quit it back and forth discussion to get whatever is in their interests. Now, what they are going to try to convince you is in your interest is that you're living on the street. It's cold, man. You're willing to do a year there. Wouldn't you rather be at least in a barrack, sharing a room with a couple of guys? Hey, you were in the army, coming from the army, instead of sharing it in a dirty hut in the sand with air conditioning. Though they made sure you had air conditioning. The air conditioning budget for Afghanistan and Iraq was more than the entire NASA budget. They cut NASA, did away with it. It was billions of dollars just for the air conditioning. They went, what? So what happens is they're going to offer you something, and you already got the education going. You're going to get, we got a bunch of houses that are vacant. We're going to help you out there. We're going to do you a solid. Okay? They're going to offer you all kinds of crap. It's election year, man. And it's going to be from the left, and then from the right, we're going to go, well, no, we're going to now quit it, and we're intracted, and we can't, but if we could only have a constitutional convention. If we could only come to an agreement on blah, blah, blah. But it's never more freedom. It's never stopping the empire. It's never stopped. That's one thing. I was talking to Tom. It was pissing me off. I mean, he'll get me cussing faster than, well, almost as fast as Al. Okay? Because the thing is, it's just to be annoying, and I'm just, but Tom tries to be serious, and he goes, well, we need this, I go, he goes, well, that's not on our plate. The empire, this was his argument. By 2060, entitlements will make up 20% of the budget, and the military will only be 5%. One, I don't care, but one, I say it's all bullshit anyway. But I'm going, Tom, time out, Tom. You're killing people! People are dying. Children are being blown up. Hellfire missiles are going in from Predator drones in the weddings and splattering them all over the place. You were in Afghanistan, you got stories of stories, and what the hell? I don't want to ask what you did. So the thing is to say, well, we're not going to be, you saying that we won't be controlled by both? Yeah, you will. Just like the Tea Party. Foreign policy will not be on their agenda. What is not on Occupy's agenda? Oh, we're not going to talk about whatever the hell it is. But if it's not more freedom for me, you're just as bad as they are. So the thing is that what happens with Occupy? It is wrong for them to get the bailouts. So what do they say? Student loans make up $1 trillion now. It is enormous how much you've indebted. People are coming out of college with anywhere from $30,000 to $300,000. I mean, I'm sure the average is close to $100,000 if you did a 4-year. And the reason it's so much is because it's all government subsidized anyway. You got all of this. So what did they do? They knew it was coming. A couple of years ago, they changed the bankruptcy laws that you cannot declare bankruptcy and wipe off your discharge your student loans. You are a slave for freaking ever. So what do? They come out of college, and what don't they have? A job. So they have no job. They got enormous debt. So what are they going to offer to get it? To wipe that off? You come work in the national service, draft military, bone kind of, whatever. You go, kill Ahab the Arab, and it's all good. So I'm going, seriously, these are my choices? You were 19. What city did you come from? Did you have a lot of prospects? Did you go, you probably thought the military was probably a good deal? I bet they sure as hell sold it that way. The recruiter, man, he was Best's buddy, wasn't he? He's doing the Private Benjamin thing. He's going to have condos. So this is the point that I'm making. There is an enormous market of young people that have enormous debt, that have no future, no hopes. How do I know this? Because I graduated high school in '79, it was exactly the same thing. Interest rates were 20+%. Yeah, that's right. Of course, they saved the dollar with that. But 20-something%. The Rust Belt, remember that?
Yeah. Still Rust.
Malaise, You know, here comes a Ronnie Ray gun in there, and everything. You know, it's the sunshine, America. We're going up there. But I tell you, they're going up from down here. Lines for the gas station. I had a 65 Chevelle Super Sport. I was buying gasoline, it was 60, 70 cents or something. All of a sudden it went to $1.20. I'm like, what the hell? Because my gas gauge speedometer went like this. You think I'm kidding? I hit the gas, man. I can see the gas gauge go down. So the thing is I'm going, who are we at war with then? This is the Cold War. Where was the Soviet Union? Afghanistan. Who was taking hostages? Iran. It was the same headlines. Hell, it was the same people. So I'm going, you know, it's Rumsfeld. And it was, Cheney. And it was, you see my point? Yeah, it's all these guys. So I'm just going, my kids are now in their early 20s. They thought that I was like, making this stuff up. No, you don't understand, Dad. The hell I don't. They brought back the selective service for the draft. This is coming again. It's always a cycle. That's why they call it revolution. It just keeps coming around. And for the first time in human history, though, what do we have? The ability through technology to communicate directly with these guys and embrace them, love them, with our Levolution, with information, so that they understand what's really going on. And to think that they're going to go up against this big bad corporation, they're going to rule us from on high and take and do and whatever and bail out the banks and not them, so they should get theirs, is not the solution. But that's how they're arguing. Fox News sure as heck is. They'll say, we gave all the money to the banks. Why didn't you just give it to the people that had the mortgages? Why didn't you just give it to the people with student loans? Where was that money going to go? It's going to go to the banks. But what did the banks get? They got the taxpayer to be indebted, my grandchildren, children, me, to be indebted more to bail out the banks, and they still got these guys in debt to keep paying them.
Yes.
What kind of bullshit is that?
Yes.
So what's the solution? Well, then we need to bail out us and discharge our debt. Okay, we'll do that. No. Do your service. See my point? So when you got the left up here screaming they're going to whatever and this and community and for the country and everybody's too selfish and all that kind of stuff, libertarians are like, self is good, okay? You take care of yourself, I'll take care of me, and we're all fun, all friends. This is how I know, and this is how it's going to happen. This election cycle. Constitutional Convention, top down with the Tea Party thing, a coalition with the left, Occupy Wall Street kind of stuff. In the end, save America, and we're going to get screwed. The end. Hey, Drew. Drew has a bunch of shirts back there. Make sure you go by and see him. We've been making a lot of these at our workshop, too. Yes, sir.
Remember I said earlier, I made a promise that our revolution will change and adapt until we succeed. You gave me a lot of information about how the cycle works, but that means you're coming to ours, right? So you can be the difference and stop the revolution and turn it to revolution.
We've behind the scenes, we've been helping you guys more than you think.
We need you in front of the scenes, educate them.
No, you don't.
It would help. We have a lot of perception.
Well, when they, we'll talk. They know I'm around.
All right, what do you guys think about the whole cotton picking thing anyway? Freedom.
Freedom's the answer. What's the question?
There you go. Haven't heard that for a long time, Ernie. What's happening? You're slipping or something. Getting old? All right. Drawing for the books. First chance. 2730. 2730. First chance of the books back there in the corner.
Yeah!
Second chance. 2702. 2702.
We have a
First
winner.
chance in the books back in the corner. Last chance. Whatever's left. 2695. 2695. No 2695? Club number there. 2726. 2726. Oh, we can't even get the third one here? Well, we got a lot of tickets left here. 2732. 2732. Come on. There you go. All right. All right, we had a lot of fun today, and we'll see you guys a month from today. Last Saturday, first Saturday in the month.
December 3rd.
I need to work that night.